Welcome to panel 6, where we're going to discuss the single audit and particularly the cooperative audit resolution initiative, CAROI. I'm here joined with Rasa. Rich is the Director of Education Department Office of Inspector General, State and Local Advisory Assistance since 1991. You can say that Rich is the founding father of CAROI, so very glad to have you here. And then welcome back is Merril Oliver. She's the Director of the Maryland Governor's Grants Office. So welcome to this panel. The new audit requirement on the uniform guidance are effective starting with fiscal year 2015. We are now just receiving those audit in-house right now. So it is a little premature to talk about the best practice for single audit in terms of efficiency, effectiveness of this new guidance. However, there is the new concept of cooperative audit resolution, CAROI, that is discussed in the new uniform guidance, section 225 and 513 that have received a lot of attention. The first time mentioned in uniform guidance, a lot of questions about it. We will discuss CAROI on his utility, result, and available tools. So Rich, let me start out with the mythbuster to you. The name CAROI is often mentioned, but it's often mistaken and misunderstood. I talked to 3 people on the street. What's the first thing that came to their mind upon term CAROI? One person mentioned that CAROI is a sister city next to Cairo. And the second one is CAROI, that must be a Japanese koi fish on steroid. And the last one is CAROI, that must be the official intelligence system for the Google self-driven car. Is any of that myth true?
Gil, all those myths are untrue.
You kidding me?
No, it's true that they're untrue.
Okay.
All right. But there is a city in Spain that's named CAROI, so that is a reality.
You named this whole process after the city in Spain.
No, but the reality is cooperative audit resolution, and I'm so glad that it's in the uniform guidance. It's the first time that we've set a standard for how audit resolution should take place for our grants, right? It is a process that was developed at the Department of Education back in 1994. We've had a lot of success with it. The acronym CAROI is called the Cooperative Audit Resolution and Oversight Initiative. And I think that it's going to be one of the realities. When we talk about myths, we also talk about the reality. The reality is, for our grantees, there will be audits. The great news is that we have a way of dealing with those audits now that's going to be helpful in making sure that findings that result in the audits get fixed.
Okay.
So that's the reality.
So how is that related to the uniform guidance? I think this is in section 205.13. How is that relate to the audit that's going on right now?
Right. Okay. So the reason that we decided to have cooperative audit resolution at the Education Department for the last 20 years was because we knew we could do better. All right. The uniform guidance embodies our process that we've pioneered at Education. There were 4 goals. Create and maintain a dialogue with grantees. In other words, start talking to each other again. Resolve all audits cooperatively. That sets a different kind of standard. It takes the adversarial process out of the equation. The third goal was to improve single audit. Improve how we do audits by using the information that we receive and we've analyzed in this cooperative audit resolution process to improve how we do audits in the future. And the fourth goal is coordinating audits, monitoring, and technical assistance activities. Improve our oversight.
Okay. So one of the questions that come up a lot from grant stakeholder is, who should be on this CAROI team? I'm going to start with you, Rich, and then Merril, you can chime in from the state perspective. Who should be driving the CAROI bus?
Right. All right. So there are 4 perspectives that are very important to any cooperative audit resolution. The program office, who absolutely knows how the programs should work. The fiscal folks, the CFO's office, who knows about the fiscal findings and how to fix the internal controls. The legal staff, general counsel. It's very important to have them at the table. They're going to walk us through the criteria. And another important group, the auditors. The
Yes.
auditors are going to tell us why something happened from their perspective, from what they saw when they were doing the audit. So audit, program, fiscal, and legal, having all those folks to the table. And it's federal, and it's the grantee as well. Federal, state, and local. Very important to have the grantee at the table, and that brings in Merril.
So that's basically 4 legs of the chairs.
Exactly.
Right.
Merril,
Exactly.
From the state perspective?
So, Rich, I would agree with you. We in the state of Maryland have always taken the approach that auditors are actually our friends, and we want to
Hear that? Hear that,
engage.
Rich?
I like that.
And,
That's
and
Merril's
we
good.
want to engage in that audit process so that we can do a better job of managing our programs and driving results for Marylanders. So, as Rich said, having the program staff involved in the process, which is critical, often at the state level, program staff and the financial staff sort of operate separately. So we bring the fiscal staff into this process. We also involve procurement because often at the state level, grants are issued through the procurement office. And so, we've addressed some of those issues earlier, but we involve our procurement people so that they can better understand the impact of an audit. We also involve the legal staff, and then in Maryland we have the centralized grants office in the governor's office. So our office is involved in the federal audit process, and in fact we take a proactive approach when our state agencies are informed that they're going to have an entrance conference. Our office is invited out, and we help with that process for our state agencies, function as a liaison, and basically guide through that process. So we take a centralized, collaborative approach with our federal partners.
Sound like the tone had to be set to on the top, that you're going to use this cooperative approach to resolving all your audit moving forward. Merril, can you give us an example of a CAROI success story?
Well, I think that for the state of Maryland, our success is measured in the results of our single audit.
Okay. Tell us more.
That over the years we have decreased our audit findings, but more importantly, we have decreased our single audit findings ratio, because that puts the context around what your performance truly is. We are decreasing materiality. We have not had material findings in many years now. And again, through this collaborative process, working with our federal partners, following somewhat of a script through the process really makes it much easier for all of our program staff and financial staff to be engaged in the process.
Okay. Rich, you?
Well, and one of the things that I've worked with Merril on over in Maryland was that we have a new playbook, the Intergovernmental Partnership Playbook.
Okay.
And it was just published in April this year. And that is laying out really the cooperative audit resolution process and how it gives ideas on how to implement it under the uniform guidance to reduce improper payments and improve internal controls.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, the audit findings that have been identified by the single audits have a real internal control weakness problem that needs to be fixed.
Okay.
I know that Maryland is sending out the new playbook with their single audits.
Is the book named CAROI?
It's named the Cooperative Audit Resolution and Oversight Initiative Playbook.
All right.
Yeah,
Oh,
there
so
we go.
it's a playbook.
Successfully implementing cooperative audit
Even
resolution.
have like a football thing going on.
It does.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
So in the state of Maryland, again, we really want to take the proactive approach. This playbook has been distributed to our statewide grants team. In Maryland, we have a cabinet secretary appointed point of contact from each of our state agencies for the grants office. They are in receipt of this. We are going to be partnering with Rich shortly to conduct a training on how to follow the playbook. This also, as Rich mentioned, did go out with our single audit, so the report to our CFOs across the state.
Okay. Rich, I think you told us before about your success story with the state of Pennsylvania in terms of resolving the audit using CAROI. Can you illustrate that a little bit?
Yeah, actually, Pennsylvania, and it was back in 1997, had about 10 years worth of single audits that had not been resolved. And we reached out to the controller for the state of Pennsylvania. He brought together his team, program fiscal and legal. We did the same. The only thing he asked us was if we could do this process in 6 months, that would be great. And 6 months later, we resolved all the findings for those 10 years and had a very successful cooperative audit resolution with them.
Okay. So one last question for the panel. What other use that CAROI can have? What other than single audit? What can you use CAROI for?
Okay, if I could start.
Yes,
All right.
please.
I talked about the idea of using audit information that we've analyzed and come to a resolution on to improve single audit. Certainly, the information from cooperative audit resolutions can be used to inform single audit for the future. And then the last thing is that if we coordinate audits, monitoring, and technical assistance, bringing the different perspectives together, we can be using cooperative audit resolution for better oversight.
No?
And I think from the state perspective, building the relationship with our federal partner, we truly want to do a good job in administering these funds. We want to demonstrate that we are good stewards of federal funds, and therefore we will reap the benefits for Marylanders. So this helps to provide a pathway, a mechanism to strengthen the relationship between the federal government and states through these grant programs.
Okay, so it sounds to me like CAROI is good for business. It sounds like maybe we even need to put CAROI in the new Google's car to kind of go on its own. But 3 points I get from you, and I want to get your reaction on
State enterprise.
Rich?
And I would say the tone at the top leadership is really important. The reason we have cooperative audit resolution today is because Secretary Riley back in the 1990s made it a point of making sure that we were there to work cooperatively with our grantees. And that message everybody in the agency got. So I think that's really important.
Okay, and for the final thought, it sounds like I heard from you that CAROI is a proven concept. Yeah. You have good experience with that before, and the tool is also now available. The playbook is now available, with AGAs. So yes. I think with that, we're going to close the panel, and would want to remind everybody that the tools that we're talking about is also going to be listed, with this webcast, and also on the COFAR website.